How do you wash your clothes? Well, I use these, and if it's a lot, I give it to my mom. 5 billion people in the world don't have that option. 20 hours a week they spend doing back-breaking work, washing their clothes by hand. It's unacceptable. Dr. Navjot Sawhney decided to do something about that. Nav is the founder of the Washing Machine Project, an organization building the world's first fully flat packable washing machine. It's 75% faster, uses 50% less water, and requires no electricity. They've impacted 30,000 people already, and the aim? 1 million by 2030. Dr. Navjot Sawhney and his work has been recognised by former UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. He's gone and delivered in conflict zones, and yes, the Beach Boys have used it. I sat down with Nav on Build for Better, and we spoke about how we can use engineering as a tool for change in the world, how to build for those that are underserved, and why a washing machine might just be one of the greatest inventions of our time.
Can you imagine if it didn't record? That'd be tough.
Yeah. I'm going to double check just in case now. Thank you for being here.
Good to see you, man.
Great to see you.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. I mean, to start with, to anyone who doesn't know or isn't familiar with your work, could you give me a 3-sentence summary, who you are, what you stand for, and what you're doing right now?
Sure. So my name is Nav. People call me the guy that makes washing machines.
Nice.
But when I'm not making washing machines, I'm really interested in and passionate about helping people in any way, shape or form, in any way that I can, whether that's through my influence or my skills and expertise or just my interests. When I'm not working, I'm spending time with my family or traveling. And a lot of my time working is traveling, so when I'm not working, I'm with my family, and I'm really passionate about what I do right now. We're trying to work on something that's really having an impact on the world, and will continue to have an impact as well.
It's amazing. I've been really excited to have this chat. For a few reasons: what you're doing, what you're building, the mission you're trying to accomplish, and the problems you're trying to solve. But to be honest, as I've looked through everything, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever else, it's just that you seem like a genuinely lovely human.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much. Man.
Is there something about you in your childhood or you as a person that you can tell me that's sort of brought you to the man that you are today?
Yeah, massively, and I believe that everyone's lived experiences shape them to however they act in their life. And whenever I meet a grumpy person, I always find that I always say to my someone who I'm with, I'm like, life hasn't been kind to this person, Yeah. And I've been really lucky in my life, and there's been many trials and tribulations, but compared to lots of people in the world right now, I'm happy and I'm healthy, and that's all that matters, And my childhood was really fascinating. I was a very curious child. I'd love to know how things worked. I was, always taking things apart and not knowing how to put them back together.
Yeah.
So using the toolbox and breaking things. And my dad was an aerospace engineer, and he would take me to air shows. And I would be fascinated with how these big aircrafts would go into the sky and not know. And this curiosity was with me throughout my whole life. And unfortunately, my father passed away when I was young. I was 8 years old, and my mum, who's a force of nature, and she's an amazing lady, and I'm so lucky that I was brought up by her, because she single-handedly raised me with my 2 older sisters, and she gave us every single opportunity available to her. She made the pound go farther. She worked all hours of the day. She was really frugal. really disciplined, but also loving. You know, she made sure that we didn't miss an opportunity, even if she couldn't afford it. You know, so we'd go to cinema, not buy the popcorn there, and we'd make popcorn at home. You know, we instead of wearing Adidas, we'd wear Dibidas. You know, and you know, that's her version of showing us love. And you know, these curiosity and seeing my mum and my sisters grow up really kind of formed my thinking into what I am today, which is, you know, I want to create innovations, and I want to create products or services that help women in one way, shape or form. Yeah. So that's my upbringing.
That's powerful. I can relate to some of that, being brought up by a very strong woman, and I love that. I love that that's carried through.
Is that your mum you're talking about?
My mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is she?
She's amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What makes her amazing?
I mean, growing up, not having a father figure in my life as well. Yeah.
Fascinating.
As I've become older,
yeah,
I've started to realize more and more how incredible she is.
Yeah. You don't get that in your ages between 15 and 20. You're like, it's whatever. But actually, the older that you get, and the older that she gets, oh man, I can't wait for you to experience that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Cherish those moments, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her, and I really like just how you're using your past to kind of inspire where you're going.
Yeah, the path wasn't straightforward, right?
Yeah.
And the story is really well documented, but you know, I did everything right. You know, as a South Asian, you know, you're meant to follow a certain path.
Yeah.
You know, you get good grades at school, you go to university. You get good grades at university, you go to work. You go to work, you get married, you have kids, and you get promoted, and that's it. That's the end of your. That's it. That's the trajectory that you need to go down. And for me, I think the starting point was that, you know, I got the grades, and I got the university placement, and I got a really good job, you know, and I remember how happy I was at that point in time. I remember every single day I would go into work and think that this was the dream. This is where I wanted to retire, essentially, and it was a fascinating experience that I learned so much from, but I knew that this wasn't the only thing for me.
And before we get there, so as you know, I'm a first year mechanical engineering student.
Yeah.
And I mean, you studied aeronautical engineering at Queen Mary's.
I did, yeah.
How was that?
It was good. It was good. Mainly, the content was really good, and I'm sure engineering as a subject has changed. I studied 10 years ago, but I hope, and I know after going back to places like Queen Mary and Bath, where I studied a master's, that the curriculum has changed, and you know, people are thinking a bit more about circularity and sustainability and ethics and humanitarian engineering, which is reassuring. I didn't have any of that at the time, but for me, the most interesting part of the university is the people that I studied with.
Okay.
I love that. I loved, you know, all of us having the same problem and trying to come up with a solution together, and that's more representative of life than, you know, individual tasks, I think. And so, you know, my friends and my peers that I studied with at university, at Queen Mary and at Bath, are some friends that I've had for life, you know, and I just remember the days when we were in the library, copying each other, learning from each other, having lunch with each other, you know, and being stressed, being happy, and just some of our formative years together, you know, and that experience is so memorable.
So would you say from your university time it was more the soft skills that you kind of carried forward than what you actually learned technically?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
especially for the jobs that I have to do now, are soft skills. You know, the technical aspects are covered by other people that have more interest and more expertise. For me, in the role that I need to conduct is like, how do I make people feel? How do I deliver a strategy? How do I get money into the organization? And you know, that doesn't come from an aerospace engineering curriculum. So
Yeah.
it's how do you bridge the gap between the soft skills and the hard skills? Then you need to have technical capability, but that's not the be-all and end-all.
I know you said you've started to see more of the humanitarian side of things being brought into university.
Yeah.
But what do you think about engineering degrees as they are today? Because I guess we were talking before and you mentioned, am I into planes or cars or that kind of thing? And when I think mechanical engineering, I guess that is the typical subset of, I mean, most of my modules are focused around a gearbox.
Is
right?
it still?
Still.
That's fascinating. I thought that would have changed. And when you said you're into neurotech, that was really refreshing.
Yeah.
And it just shows how far away I am from this. I think things are moving quickly. It'll be interesting to see in the age of AI, like what role does a university degree have to play? I don't know what that answer is.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you in terms of, you know, having an answer for a question that you've faced within seconds. I think these softer skills are really important. You know, the ability to critically think,
Yeah.
to assess information quickly, to be able to form an opinion that helps you in your interests and the wider society. I think those are the things something that AI can't teach you.
Yeah. And I'm starting to see that more, and I guess towards the beginning, first few terms of my course, as I realized that I wanted to do or apply my skills, my engineering, my ability to make things to help solve a problem, a real problem, I felt as if some of the course was not a waste of time, is not what I would call it, but it just felt it wasn't directly targeting what I wanted to get better at.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on, I've realized it's some of the peripheral skills that being there will teach me that I can then take forward. So that's sort of how I see it now.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff.
And so after Queen Mary's, you got a job at one of the most coveted employers in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's within 2 weeks of graduation I started at Dyson.
Yeah.
And I remember I treated finding a job as a job. So I would wake up at 7 in the morning, I would start applying for stuff online from 8, and I'd do that all the way till 6 p.m. And I'd just do that for weeks on end. And I had loads and loads of opportunities come up, and I had 2 job offers at the time, and I chose Dyson because, you know, when Dyson comes knocking on your door, you don't say no, right? And and I remember I had like a week's notice, and I packed up all my things and left for home.
Yeah.
And that's where I went. I went to a place called Malmesbury, drove in the middle of the night. You know, being born and brought up in London, I didn't know like what the feeling of staying in a village felt like.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know, I could just rock up at 11 p.m. and, you know, start work the next day and it'd be fine. But didn't.
No.
No, I got lost on the way in. I wore a suit.
Okay.
On the first day. They sent me home because that's not how you do your first day at Dyson.
Right. Okay.
But again, the peers that I worked with were brilliant. The people are amazing, and the work was, you know, for a short period of time was fulfilling.
Yeah.
Also, I thought.
So you said if Dyson comes knocking on your door, you don't say no. Was there a moment before you joined that you kind of stopped? I know you said it was a 2-week kind of turnaround period, which is very quick, but was there any point at which you thought that maybe the traditional engineering route wasn't where you wanted to go beforehand?
Absolutely not. I had no understanding of what I was truly passionate about.
Yeah.
And whether I could apply that to a career. I was more focused at careers fairs on who was giving free pizza away and free pens
Yeah.
than what was good for my career. I think that's changed now.
Yeah.
I think people that are studying at university are more interested in and want to know more about what and who the company is that they're working for and what their ethics and morals and values, and there's more choice and there's more critical thinking.
Yeah.
But for me, whoever was giving me a job at the time and they told me to jump, I'd say how high,
Yeah.
But I think that's changed in my perception.
Yeah. In terms of a change, I do see people thinking about what it is they want to do.
Yeah.
I guess careers fairs, but even reaching out to people.
Yeah.
And I guess as the online world has grown more and more,
True.
you've seen more and more examples of people who differ from the beaten track, right?
Yeah, and I was quite entrepreneurial even in the offline days. So I remember at Queen Mary there was this careers room, like where you'd
Yeah.
get your CV checked, and I'd become a member of all of these organizations, the IMECI and the IChem. I wasn't even doing chemical engineering, and I just became a member of the chemical engineering membership body and Royal Academy of Engineering, I have no idea, but I just joined it and I would go to every careers fair. And so I was very entrepreneurial about trying to get a job and network, and it's much easier now in terms of touch points. There's loads of online resources, and maybe that's making it harder to find a job, I think, because there's
So much option.
so much option available. Interesting thought.
And so Dyson, I think it was 2 years and 11 months.
Yeah.
What happened?
I wasn't happy. I was not happy with what I was doing. It didn't align with my overall goals and objectives in life, and I started looking for a job. I first applied for a job at Jaguar Land Rover. I remember probably making the same mistake again, which was just trying to find something that wasn't in the position I was in. And then I applied for a role that I was really excited about, which was an Engineers Without Borders role for an international placement program in India. And the program would place me in a company called Prakti, and they were making clean and efficient cook stoves in rural India, in South India. And this is a fascinating experience, and I thought this is exactly what I want. As engineers, we can either help or hinder the planet. And I want to help, and I want to apply my skills, and I'm passionate about helping the planet. So this is my time. So it was a rigorous interview. Everyone around me advised against it. My mum didn't talk to me for days. She said that I was making the biggest mistake of my life. And I did it anyway. I quit my job. But in fact, I tried to go on sabbatical. So I remember at the time I begged for my position to come back to. They didn't allow that to happen, and I did it anyway. So I think it was around September, October, I went to in India again through the night, rainy day, storms. I thought I made the biggest mistake. I thought my mum was right, but little did I know that experience completely changed my life. And changed hundreds of thousands of people's lives as well.
It's really brave, and I wonder at that point, at the 2 years 11 months point, was there something? Was it more of a gradual change? You were feeling like tired with what you were doing, or was there a certain something that kind of made you open your eyes?
No, it's not a penny drop moment. I think it's a gradual thing. But we're around the table like this, and there's 20 engineers. These are brilliant engineers, world-class talent, and they're talking about a £500 vacuum cleaner, and how to make it suck more, or suck less, or scraping like 5 pence off the bill of materials cost. I think there's more to life than doing that, and there's absolutely no disrespect to anyone that does that. You know, everyone has to make their own choice in their own lives for the reasons that they have, and they have their own interests. But
Yeah.
I know that, you know, I've been put on this world to help, and I have the skills to do that. So why am I wasting my time to do that? You know, so it was a tough decision, and it was something that I wrestled with over many months.
Yeah. So you moved to India.
I did, yeah.
How did that go?
It was the same time as Diwali,
Okay.
and there was a 5-day holiday in India,
Okay.
and there was monsoon as well. And I was staying in this rural village, and I was away from home at a very like celebratory time,
Yeah.
and I was so homesick. And I honestly thought I made the biggest mistake of my life, you know. But I decided to go from Tamil Nadu to Maharashtra in Mumbai, where my extended family live, and I spent some time with them, felt a bit better, came back, started getting myself acquainted and, you know, integrating myself into the community, found a house to stay in, really applied myself in the work that I was doing.
Yeah.
And from then on, I loved every single minute of it. And, you know, on Monday we'd have an idea, on Tuesday we would test that idea out, on Wednesday that we'd get feedback of how rubbish that idea was, and by Thursday we'd already have a new prototype available. you
Yeah.
know. And by Friday that prototype would be back in the field. This kind of living lab was the thing that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but for people who don't have very much. So that's what I did.
Amazing. That kind of iterative process, the Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday,
Yeah,
designing, testing, iterating, changing.
yeah.
It reminds me a lot of the iterative cycle you would have at somewhere like Dyson. So what would you say was some of the best things that you could take forward from a place like Dyson, from Queen Mary's studying aeronautical engineering, and what were some of the biggest things you felt you had to unlearn from those places?
The thing that I learned both at Queen Mary and Dyson is that failure is a good thing. I failed my first year at Queen Mary.
Yeah.
I got like an average of 25%, but when I was in my last year I got an average of 85%. And well, yeah, maybe 80 or between 80 and 85%. And that whole experience of failure not being the end of something was completely transformative. But it's also something that you have to learn. You have to be really comfortable about failing, and it's something that Dyson really like pushes, you know.
Yeah.
That you have to encourage failure. You have to encourage things not working, because that's where the magic happens. Even my team right now in this building are, you know, they're working on a new project, and it's not engineering; it's everything.
Yeah.
My team that are working on marketing activation right now are encouraging them to do something new, to try something that hasn't been done before. So that's what they're doing right now. And things that I've had to unlearn is, you know, having your own bias about something. You know, just because you have an opinion or know how something works doesn't mean that someone else feels the same way or has the same viewpoint. And trying to be as open as possible is hard. And both in Queen Mary and Dyson, I felt, you know, there was maybe not in the engineering, but just in general, the people around me, you know, like there's a bias, you know.
Yeah.
I was the only Asian in my team, in my immediate team at Dyson, and there was not many people that looked like me at the time. I'm sure that's changed, but there's a lot of bias.
Was that something you had to kind of contend with in this part of your journey? Was there a lot of difficulty you faced because there weren't others like you, or was that something you didn't really notice at the time?
I think aged 12 to 16, 17, I tried to shy away from it. Like I really tried to hide who I am. But I realized that this is my superpower, you know, being different, looking different, speaking different is my superpower, and it's what cuts me, it's what sets me apart from everyone else. When other people zig, I try and zag, you know, and it's important to surround yourself with people that don't think like you know. If everyone thought like me, we'd never get any work done, you know. So it's important to have complementing skills, and there are people in my own team that are even more, you know, zigzaggy than me, and but there are more straight-laced people that, you know, just get the work done, perfectionists, just over and over again, you know, and they complement each other.
Awesome. So, Nav, who's Divya?
Divya is a lady that I met in the village I stayed in. She was my next door neighbor, and I was staying in a village where, you know, running water would only be switched on 2 times a day, 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. For 15 minutes. And if you didn't have a generator, then, you know, lights and electricity was tough. You know, there'd be frequent blackouts, and you just have to adapt. So Divya was a kind of 30-something stay-at-home mum. She spoke perfect English. She learnt that at high school. She wanted to work, but just didn't have the time. She had 2 kids, and she spent all of her hours on unpaid labour. And so whenever I walked past the house, she was always doing something, whether it was foraging for wood, standing in line for water, or hand washing her clothes. And when it came to hand washing, she used to spend 20 hours a week doing it. And I said to Divya, you know, why are you doing this? You know, why? I'll buy you an electric washing machine. And she said, I don't have running water and I don't have a generator. So your electric washing machine won't do anything for me. So I said, I'll make you one. I'll come back here one day, and I'll bring you and I'll make you a washing machine. So that's the start of the washing machine project.
Wow. So you left making cook stoves in India.
Well, yeah, I was there for a year and a half. I was always coming back to the UK.
Okay.
It was at the same time I promised Divya the washing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the washing machine project was born?
Yeah, as an idea.
As an idea.
And I immediately went to like every next door neighbor and every house, and there was 19 houses on that road. And I said, you know, is this a problem? And every single person said the same thing, and they said yes, and it only affected women. And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Why is no one looking into this? And
yeah.
The more and more research I did, I came back home. I actually started at Jaguar Land Rover. Okay. Because I needed some time and some money. Yeah. To do what I did, and Jaguar Land Rover is an amazing employer. Like, I was so lucky to have Jaguar Land Rover at a time where my life was in turmoil. You know, I'd come back from India to the UK. The reverse culture shock is crazy, and you know, Jaguar Land Rover gave me a nurturing environment to not only apply my engineering skills, but also grow the washing machine project, which it did. And my manager was amazing. The CEO at the time was incredible, and we now call them a current partner of ours. So yeah. But yeah, I came back and I continued to do research, and this was an emerging issue that no one was addressing, and if they did address it, it was not scalable for some reason. Right. You know, it was a university project that never took off, or it was in a sector that was not appropriate to what sector that we're trying to target.
Mm.
People are making manual washing machines for people who go on uh, camping trips, but they don't make it for refugees. And so I realized that, over at that time it was 70%, now it's about 50%.
Yeah.
That, there's a significant proportion of the world, 5 or 6 billion people that still hand wash clothes. Billion, not million. And the burden of hand washing clothes is disproportionately placed on women and girls, like Divya. And it denies opportunities to work, study and rest. And I said to myself, what if we created a solution for these types of people? And what if it didn't require electricity? And what if it didn't require running water and it reduced the amount of water needed? And so we got to work doing that, and I invited my friend Alex, who used to work at Dyson at the time.
Okay.
And he was equally as frustrated as I was in my job. And we'd start sketching on paper, we'd meet online for a few hours a week. And there's this time that I got everyone around my mum's kitchen table. I invited a few friends, and I started sketching what a new concept could look like. And we had this salad spinner in the corner of the kitchen, and we took it down from the shelf, and we put our socks in it and started washing our socks. So that was the first concept.
Yeah.
And then that kind of built and built. At the same time, I did a master's at Bath in humanitarianism.
Yeah.
So that bridged my humanitarian passion with my engineering expertise, and that was the kind of trigger point where someone gave me my first big break.
Yeah.
One of my friends on the course said, "Why don't you come to Iraq and test your washing machine?" And I said, "Yeah, sure," but we didn't have one, and all of these opportunities are opportunities that have come organically at probably a time where we were not ready, but we still said yes.
Yeah.
I said yes to the Iraq opportunity.
Yeah.
Alex made the prototype in 2 days, and we took it to Iraq, and 5 days in 5 refugee camps we tested our machine. It was called the Divya washing machine, and we found that people really needed the machine.
Yeah.
And that was the first step in the journey of the washing machine project. And that report that we wrote was seen by Oxfam. They invited us to and funded us for 50 more machines after that. So Oxfam was our first ever procurement partner, which is crazy to think.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't even a formal company or a social enterprise or a charity at that point.
Yeah.
We had nothing. It was my pocket money. And we had to open a bank account because Oxfam was giving us money. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the origin story of the Divya and the washing machine project.
Wow. So you got to Iraq. What did you do when you were there?
Yeah. So this is at a time where the conflict in Syria was still happening. People in Iraq were internally displaced. So we were meeting people from the Yazidi community who were really disproportionately affected when it came to ISIS's war.
Yeah.
And these people had lost so much, and we met these people at times of their lives where they were struggling, and I remember meeting a lady who had a bush in front of her tent.
Yeah.
And I said to my translator, "What's this bush doing here?" She asked, and the lady said, "This, I planted this bush, and it reminds me of the garden that I have back in Syria, and I loved my garden and I miss it, so this is why I've planted it, because I have something to look after here." And I think that just gives you an example of, who who you're meeting in refugee camps. These are people like you and me who had everything in their lives, and for one reason or another they've lost it, you know, and they find themselves in a really tough, temporary, hopefully temporary moment in their lives. And we were testing our machines with these people, and the feedback was brilliant, you know. Our machine was rubbish.
Yeah.
It leaked, the handle didn't turn, but people wanted something, and that was more than enough.
What was the refugee camp like? Because we hear about refugee camps and we see pictures on the news, but beyond that, I don't really know.
Yeah. So there are some refugee camps in the world that are built to be temporary. So, you know, they're built in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
But are still around 70 years later, and are now, you know, 5, 6, 7-story buildings in these camps. Started as a tent, and there are some that come up as quickly as they go, essentially. You know, the average life of a refugee camp is over 20 years old now, but they are like formal structures. You know, there are authorities looking after those people. There's segmentation. There's roads. There is economy, marketplaces. There's people where you can go to cut your hair, to play games, a school. But there are some that have nothing, you know. So it's varied, no matter what country, and even if you're in the same country, it varies from place to place.
And I guess seeing the community, seeing the people that could actually benefit from what you were trying to build must have been amazing. And I guess, what did that journey look like, where you had your leaking prototype from Iraq to the point at which you've now distributed a lot of them around the world?
Yeah, I mean, and at the time, I remember one of my friends at Bath University, who had already at that time been working at the UN for over 5 years. She said something to me really interesting. She said, "Nav, you know, these people who have lost everything see hundreds of people like you all the time that promise them the world. You know, these people don't live in a zoo. You know, if you're going to go there and ask for their research and their information, you better well deliver on what you're promising, because if you're not, then you're just like everyone else." And those words have always stuck with me. Yeah, fascinating stuff. And that friend is now my fiance that I'm going to get married to this year. So she taught me a really good lesson, and that was the starting point. And we've just kept building. You know, this traction. For me, traction is, you know, doing an interview like this. That's why I love doing interviews, talking to people about the washing machine project, because you just don't know who's in the audience, who's listening.
Yeah.
And I'll never say no to an opportunity, and that's counterintuitive to being as busy as ever.
Yeah.
And so we've gone through several iteration cycles of the washing machine that we've built, and we've now built the world's first flat pack manual washing machine, it's called. And it saves 75% of time and 50% of water compared to hand washing clothes. It won the Time magazine Invention of the Year, and we've impacted, you know, over 100,000 people now with the machines that we've created in refugee camps, but not only that, in orphanages, in schools, in hospitals, in places like Gaza. But also low-income areas in Mexico, in Uganda, in Kenya, in India, and we're really just scratching the surface. There's so much to do, but it's such a tough climate right now. You know, funding is being pulled back from humanitarian actors and governments. There's uncertainty in the world. Corporates are not doing as well as they were. So yeah, it's a tough climate to be in.
It's a tough climate, but it's a beautiful mission.
Yeah.
And
thanks.
I guess you've spoken to, I mean, you've shown your Divya to so many people, and I guess the Prime Minister, the Beach Boys, quite a few others.
Yeah.
And what have you learned by way of getting people's attention, especially in a climate where funding is being withdrawn, it's harder to get the attention of people? What have you learned by way of showing people what you can bring to the world?
And often we found that laundries and washing machines is 7th on the priority list of our users, you know.
Okay.
Our end users and consumers and our customers are more interested in TVs, phones. Then comes fridges, ACs, mixers, and then washing machines. And you know, but when we speak to our customers and our users, they say how much pain they feel and how much time it takes, and so it's about relaying their priorities versus what the perception is on washing machines and laundry. So it's trying to make it as interesting as possible, trying to make it as engaging, cutting through to an audience that's noisy, saturated, and we have to do innovative things, you know, and we fail a lot, but there's times where it really lands, and when it lands, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen videos of you washing clothes in the Thames. And and that was a simple idea, which was, you know, there are billions of women around the world that have to wash in lakes, rivers, and streams. So why is it unusual of me to wash my clothes in the River Thames? That was the concept, and it seems like that really cut through, you know. Yeah. So you said you've impacted 100,000 people to date.
Yeah.
I'm guessing one of those is Divya.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What was that moment like, going back to her?
Really incredibly beautiful. I think, so we're in 2026 now. I think we went back in April 2024. And we made that promise in 2017, I believe, or 2018. And so it'd been a 6 or 7 year promise at that time, and it was really emotional. And you know, Divya, we spent hours together. I had I had invited some of my colleagues to be with me, and some of our partners, Whirlpool, who's helped us scale to get here, were also there, and it was really emotional. We cried a lot, and when we were saying goodbye, she said something really emotional. She said, you know, you've supported us, but now it's your time to help other people, because there are millions of women just like me around the world, so they need it now. So go find them.
That's amazing. Is legacy important to you?
I'm in two minds of this. For a long period of my time, maybe this is because my father passed away when I was very young, I was always about legacy. You know, like, what world do you want to leave? How do you want people to see you when you're no longer a part of this world? But for me, I just want to make as much impact as I can while I'm here, and then just leave it up to the rest of... I just want to inspire as many people as I can to do good in whatever capacity that they have.
Yeah. You have a number, a big number, by 2030. What's that number?
We want to get to 1 million people by 2030. We think that's achievable. Some people say that's too low in a world where, you know, over 4 or 5 billion people right now still hand wash clothes, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nav, what's your dream? What do you want to see the world shape into? How do you want to leave the world?
Me personally, my dream is to make a real dent on the number of people that are hand washing clothes. I want a more tolerant society for each other, and I'd love a more empathetic society, and you know how. What do I see is, you know, all of those things. I think if we were more tolerant and empathetic and just these simple problems like hunger and hand washing clothes would be, you know, there'd be less. But we can be hopeful, and we are getting better as a society, even though it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
You only have to look to 100 years ago to see how, you know, how society was then versus now.
Yeah.
You know.
And if everybody in the world was to hear this message, what would you tell them?
My message to people is that you should fall in love with the problem, because the solution will always change. And whether that's the solution that you're currently working on or something that you're working on in a few months or a few years' time, that problem will always be there. So what is the problem that you want to work on? And how can you fall in love with it?
Amazing. Nav, you are genuinely inspiring.
Thanks, man.
To me, and I'm sure for so many others. Thank you for taking the time today. It's been amazing.
Appreciate it, Vikesh. Thanks, man.
Thank you. That was really interesting.